This is Darren Marchant with American Nomad News. And I'd like to introduce you to a concept in Astroponics that is going to be familiar to people who do hydroponic work. Is that adding CO2 to the environment beyond what we're normally breathing in sea level atmosphere can increase the vegetative capacity of the plants. Now, if we take this fact and we consider it in regards to astroponics in the Martian context, as is well understood and agreed upon, Mars has a very high CO2 content in the atmosphere. That means that there is a lot of carbon to be harvested. Now, given, for the sake of argument, a very large volume of grow room space, let's say a cubic mile, a mile high, mile wide, mile deep, and nuclear power. Water shouldn't be a problem, especially since in Martian habitats, all the water is going to be such a priority to keep it closed loop, keep it inside the system, that water should be an easy thing to continuously just cycle it through the whole system. Now, artificial systems to fractionate and heat crack or other methods to process the Martian atmosphere to pull that oxygen off of that CO2 could pump up the oxygen level in that cubic mile chamber, and within that chamber would be the humans living, up to a level that is acceptable to humans. However, sections could be closed off. Simple sliding glass doors would be sufficient. And inside those areas, the CO2 could be raised, not so high necessarily that humans couldn't walk around comfortably and reasonably safely and do their work, but that you wouldn't have to have that high CO2 level in the entirety of the space. Now, people who are working inside the astroponics space that are scheduled to have high CO2, which is simply, you could pipe it in with a 1/4-inch pipe to a solenoid and a sensor that tells you it can determine exactly how much CO2 is already sensible in the room and adds CO2 as it needs to. And so the person who wants to work in that or needs to work in that area might bring something very familiar to people with lung conditions or seniors who are often seen with these oxygen generators. They're portable, not very heavy, can easily fit in a moderate backpack, and it's simply 2 little hoses that fit right under the nose, and it just ups the oxygen content right to the nose of the person breathing. And this can improve the oxygen to the brain and organs of the human without having to pump the oxygen level in the hydroponic bays, in the astroponic bays. It wouldn't be necessary to bring that oxygen level up. Now, one of the reasons that we might consider raising that CO2 level would be to maximize the vegetative growth of bamboo. Now, bamboo is an excellent candidate for engineered lumber on Mars. That means we can build structures, wooden shelves, wooden boxes, paper products, all kinds of things could be made from this bamboo and from other items. Hemp, certain kinds of other trees and grasses, papyrus, all these could be grown in that high CO2 engineered atmosphere in order to produce carbon sequestering goods. So as you're drawing CO2 out of the atmosphere, you get solid matter that you can use to increase the size of your structure. Not everything has to be made out of metal, which means you have to mine less material from the surface of Mars in order to build your structures, and therefore whatever you do mine means you can reach further, you can build more structures, you can have more room, and also that extra CO2 can be used to grow the vegetative aspect of a lot of fruits and vegetables and all kinds of things like this. And those fruits and vegetables in turn be fed to fish and chickens and like this. So this can become part of the, think of it in terms of a systemic cybernism, where you have artificial systems and you have biological systems and you have the humans using whatever it takes. There's no such thing as cheating when it comes to Mars. This means that we can design systems where the mechanical systems are more than enough for life support for the humans, but the plants make everything easier. The animals make everything easier. And we balance the very high volume of plant matter to a relatively low volume of animal life in order to get that high carbon capture process. Not so much of this CO2 producing as of the oxygen producing. That captures lots of carbon in the form of lumber, in the form of paper, resins, oils that come from plants, not to mention the foods. This has been an Astroponics segment on the CO2 cycle for Mars. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please click the like button, click the share button, let your friends know about the channel. Give us a comment and questions. If you have any, please do. Click the bell icon. Have a fabulous night, and please have an excellent tomorrow.